One man went from flipping burgers at McDonald's to becoming the richest person in Canada, worth more than $60 billion. Another is 96 years old. He still shows up to the office every single day, including weekends. And one of them, a Stanford professor, accidentally became a billionaire because two of his students came to him with a little idea called Google. Today, we're ranking Canada's top 10 richest people. And trust me, these aren't just numbers on a page. These are wild, human stories. Welcome back. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe. We cover wealth, business, and the stories behind the biggest names in the world. We're counting up from number 10 to number 1, so let's get into it. Number 10, Linda Campbell, $8 billion. Now here's the thing about Linda, and honestly, a few people on this list, she didn't build this wealth from scratch. She inherited it. And depending on your perspective, that's either a beautiful story of family legacy or a reminder that the best investment you can make is choosing the right grandparents. Linda is one of the surviving grandchildren of Roy Thomson, a Canadian media mogul who built one of the most powerful information empires of the 20th century. Roy started with a single radio station in Northern Ontario during the Great Depression and turned it into a global dynasty. Today, that dynasty is Thomson Reuters, the company that powers newswires, financial data, legal research, and basically the information backbone of the professional world. Linda holds her piece of that empire through the family holding company, Woodbridge, alongside cousins we'll meet later on this list. She's famously private. You won't find her at many galas or on magazine covers. And honestly, that might be the most Canadian billionaire move of all. Number 9, Toby Lucky, $8.9 billion. And this is where things get genuinely fun. Toby is a German-born software developer who moved to Canada in 2003 because he met a Canadian girl on a snowboarding trip to Whistler. He literally followed love to a different country. Respect. So Toby and his friends wanted to sell snowboards online. Simple enough idea. But when they went looking for software to build their store, everything on the market was garbage, clunky, expensive, just not fit for purpose. So Toby, being a software developer, built his own. And then he had an epiphany. What if the platform is actually the product? In 2006, Shopify was born. Today, it powers millions of online businesses worldwide, from massive brands like Gymshark and Mattel to the person in your neighborhood selling handmade candles. The company generates over $7 billion in annual revenue. Here's the kicker. Toby pays himself a $1 salary, $1 per year. His actual compensation comes from stock, and in 2024, his stock-based package was worth $205 million. Tax efficient and absolutely brilliant. At 44, he's the youngest person on this entire list, and he arguably changed the face of global commerce because the snowboard software sucked. Now I'm going to group numbers 8, 7, and 6 together because they are literally family. David Thomson, Taylor Thomson, and Peter Thomson, siblings, all worth $10.2 billion each. Yes, you heard that right. 3 members of the same family, with matching net worths, all sitting in Canada's top 10. They're grandchildren of the same Roy Thomson from number 10, each holding roughly 14% of Thomson Reuters through the Woodbridge family firm. David serves as chairman of Thomson Reuters. Peter chairs Woodbridge. Taylor is the private one. Now David is genuinely fascinating because he's not just a rich guy clipping coupons at a media company. He's actually one of Canada's most serious art collectors. We're talking museum-grade pieces. He's gifted extraordinary works to the Art Gallery of Ontario and has spent enormous sums building a collection that rivals many public institutions. The Thomson family is sometimes called the quiet dynasty. They don't do splashy press. They don't pick fights on social media. They just accumulate quietly, efficiently, across generations. Between all the Thomson family members on this list, the family controls somewhere north of $55 billion in collective wealth. One family, from a radio station during the Depression. Number 5, Jim Pattison, $11.4 billion. And now this is a story. Jim Pattison is 96 years old. He was born in 1928, the year before the Great Depression. He started working as a teenager selling seeds door to door, playing trumpet at children's church camps, and picking fruit in the summers. Today, he is worth over $11 billion, runs one of Canada's largest privately held companies, and I cannot stress this enough, still goes into the office every single day, including weekends. When a reporter asked him why he doesn't just retire and enjoy his yacht, he said, "Well, I get 365 days. If you like your work, it's not work." The Jim Pattison Group is a sprawling conglomerate with over 45,000 employees. We're talking grocery chains like Save-On Foods, radio and TV stations across Western Canada, car dealerships, agricultural equipment, forestry operations, and, yes, Ripley's Believe It or Not and Guinness World Records. The man owns Guinness World Records. How did he build it? In 1961, he convinced a bank manager to loan him $40,000, more than the branch's own own lending limit to open a Pontiac car dealership. He also sold his house to fund it. He then cold called a Wall Street banker and said, "My name is Jimmy Pattison. You don't know me. I want to build a Canadian conglomerate. No connections, no inheritance, no degree, just sheer, relentless will." He was even asked to run for Premier of British Columbia in the 1980s. He turned it down. He had money to make. His leadership style wasn't always warm and fuzzy either. He was known for firing the bottom salesperson at his car dealerships every single month, regardless of their numbers. Brutal, effective, controversial. Very Jim Pattison. At 96, he is the oldest active billionaire CEO in the world. That stat alone should make you rethink your retirement plans. Number 4. Joseph Tsai, $12.1 billion. Tsai is a man who wears about 3 different hats, and each hat is worth several billion dollars. Born in Taiwan, educated at Yale, holder of a Canadian passport, he's the co-founder and current executive chairman of Alibaba, the Chinese e-commerce titan that's essentially the Amazon of Asia. He was part of the original small team that Jack Ma assembled in an apartment in 1999. And when Alibaba went public in 2014 in what was then the largest IPO in history, Tsai's stake made him extraordinarily wealthy overnight. But he didn't just sit on his money. He also bought the Brooklyn Nets NBA franchise and BSE Global, which runs the Barclays Center. So yes, he owns a professional basketball team in one of America's most iconic arenas. At 61, he's navigating a complicated era for Alibaba, as Beijing's crackdown on big tech has hurt the company's valuation significantly. But Tsai remains one of the most well-connected people in both the tech and sports worlds simultaneously. Number 3. David Sheraton, $14.3 billion. What if I told you that a professor who still lives in the same house he bought 30 years ago and reportedly cuts his own hair is worth $14 billion? David Sheraton is a computer science professor at Stanford University, and his 2 most famous students were Sergey Brin and Larry Page. When Brin and Page came to Sheraton with their little search engine idea in the late 1990s, he gave them $100,000, one of the very first investments in what would become Google. That $100,000 is now worth well over $1 billion. But wait, there's more. Sheraton also co-founded Arista Networks, a company that builds networking infrastructure for data centers and AI systems. His stake in Arista alone is now worth over $5 billion. He is known in academic circles as Professor Billionaire. He's described as intensely private, almost allergic to luxury. He still lives in Palo Alto. He still cuts his own hair. The man is worth $14 billion, and he cuts his own hair. It's almost philosophical. What does money even mean when the person who has it doesn't particularly care about it? He was born in Vancouver, holds a Canadian passport, and is technically one of Canada's great success stories, even if he spent most of his career in California. Number 2. Sherry Bridson, $16.7 billion. Sherry is the wealthiest woman in Canada and one of the most powerful people in the country's history of media and finance. At 78 years old, she is the eldest grandchild of Roy Thomson, the same media magnate behind the family dynasty we've been talking about all video. Unlike her cousins, Sherry holds the largest individual stake in Thomson Reuters, approximately 23%, making her the single biggest individual shareholder in the company. That stake, plus her other holdings, puts her at $16.7 billion. She's known for being deeply private and deliberately staying out of the public spotlight. She's interested in social causes and has been described by those who know her as thoughtful and reserved, which, given that she could buy almost anything she wanted, is actually quite remarkable. What's wild about the Thomson story, and we keep coming back to it, is that it all traces back to Roy Thomson's vision, starting from that first radio station in Timmins, Ontario. Sherry never had to build a company. She simply had to be Roy Thomson's granddaughter. And somehow that decision, made by genetics, put her in charge of more wealth than most countries' entire GDP. She is the 21st richest woman in the entire world. And here we are. Number 1. Changpeng Zhao, known everywhere as CZ, worth $62.9 billion. This is one of the most extraordinary stories in the history of human wealth creation. So settle in. CZ was born in 1977 in rural China. His father was an academic who was labeled a pro-bourgeois intellectual by the Chinese government, the kind of designation that got people sent to labor camps. The family eventually fled. When CZ was 12 years old, they arrived in Vancouver, British Columbia. His mother worked sewing jobs. His father drove a beat-up Datsun. They were immigrants, starting over. As a teenager, CZ worked at McDonald's and at a gas station. He was volleyball team captain at his high school and participated in national math competitions. His PE teacher gave him the nickname Champ because nobody could quite pronounce Changpeng. His father spent 7,000 Canadian dollars, an enormous sum for the family at the time, on an IBM-compatible computer. That machine changed CZ's life. His father taught him to code. CZ went on to graduate from McGill University in Montreal with a degree in computer science. He built trading systems for Bloomberg, worked in Tokyo, New York, and London. By his mid-30s, he was a comfortable software professional with his kids in private school. And then, at a poker game in 2013, a friend told him about Bitcoin. It took him 6 months to fully understand it, and then he went all in. He sold his apartment to buy crypto. In 2017, at age 40, CZ founded Binance, a cryptocurrency exchange platform. He raised $15 million in an ICO. 11 days later, trading began. Within 180 days, Binance became the largest crypto exchange in the world by trading volume. Not in Canada, not in Asia, in the world. By 2021, Binance was processing trillions of dollars in trades. CZ's net worth reached, at its peak, over $90 billion, briefly making him one of the richest people on. What I love about this list is how different every single story is. You've got a 96-year-old who treats every day like it's his first day in business, a German snowboarder who built the infrastructure of the internet economy, a professor who handed a check to 2 college kids and changed the world, and an immigrant who went from a gas station counter to one of the largest financial empires in human history. These aren't just billionaires. They're archetypes, stories about what ambition, timing, inheritance, luck, and sheer stubbornness can produce. The question worth asking, and I'll leave you with this, is what's the thing you're building right now that you haven't given enough credit to? Toby Lucky thought he was just fixing bad snowboard software. Think about that. If you got something out of this video, hit like, drop a comment telling me which story hit hardest, and subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this. I'll see you in the next one.